Characterize an existing network. So we went through our PBM, we completed the deployment, we're monitoring the network and all that. Okay, so now we know how it works. So now if Cisco throws at us a CVD, we can use the PBM to apply it, or we use our PBM, and within the PBM we go look for a CVD. Now, CVD is one of the tools that we use to actually build a solution. Now, characterizing a network would be another tool. So how to characterize an existing network? Well, what are the information required? So back when you did your plan, how could you characterize network? We talked about the walkthrough, we talked about the goals of your customer, but actually, how do we size all this? Well, information are required. Well, you need to identify the network applications and services. Well, what are the applications you're going to run? Well, we're going to run Skype. What other application? We FTP to remote hosts. We are actually a website design customer. So well, not customer, but enterprise. So what we do, we design websites and then we push them to remote hosts. Well, do you provide the service? No, we don't. Okay, so we have identified the application. You're using FTP to upload. You're using Azure. You're using many other applications. The services. Maybe you're just offering service. Define the organizational goals. So they called you. Probably they weren't able to meet their goals. If they weren't able to meet their goals, well, they probably have a goal. So with them, you need to define it. You don't need to define everything. I mean, you need to confine this at the networking level. You're a network engineer. You're an architect. So it has to. So you need to define the goals that apply to your network solution, the network solution you'll come up with. Define the possible organizational constraints. Constraints. What's the budget? What's the time? Because within the goal and the constraint and the technical goals or the possible technical constraints. So they want to be able to push all these websites through FTP once a day, all at once, but they don't have the bandwidth and they don't have the budget for a better bandwidth. So maybe you'll fall back to other solutions. Maybe you'll create windows. Maybe you'll be able to size the bandwidth needed every day, segment it, and create windows. Gathering the information. So you know what kind of information you need, but what do you do with it? So we gather the information. You identify the existing information and documentation. So you plainly ask your customer, do you have a topology? Do you have an Excel sheet that goes with it? Do you have metrics of your network? Do you have a baseline? So all that documentation, and you need the existing information, but you also need to perform a network audit to go along with this. Most of the time, there's a discrepancy between information, documentation, and the actual network. Use traffic analysis against applications and protocols used. Like I said previously, the FTP, after traffic analysis, you found out that not only were they uploading through FTP, but there was a backup off-site at the same time. But due to technical constraint, they cannot do the backup at other times, but the backup could be stretched. So maybe it's just a QoS strategy here.